And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely Brood War OST as we have returned with the semifinals of Sparkling Tuna Cup number 75. And again, a very special STC because typically it's a Sparkling Protoss Cup, but we are now hosting this during the week, not during the weekend. And as a result, our typical Protoss competitors are not here. They are not here. There is no Geralt, for example. There is no Christiana. There's no Art. The Polish Protoss posse is not here. But we still have Protoss representation nonetheless, because spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Leylines, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing clan NWCE. It is ReBellioN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Red Zerg player. The Red Zerg currently teamless, but deserving to be on the team. He's an amazing player in his own right. It is YoungYakov. Sometimes he's old Yakov. Sometimes he's young adult Yakov. Today, YoungYakov. Let's go. If you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you believe will take the series. Best of luck in the chat. For now, Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener out of YoungYakov. Meanwhile, ReBellioN going for a gate expand back at home. So far, so good. Everything looking standard. Everything is looking standard here. And again, we're still in the semifinals. This is our first semifinals. After this series, we will be jumping into the upper semifinals as well. Honmono is still waiting for his opponents, waiting for either Flexi or Creator in those semis. So we'll get there eventually. We'll get there, Patrick. We'll get there. Just catching up in the chat. I'm catching up. Why kill the army? We can just kill the spawning pool. True, true. You could kill the army, or you could stop them from making an army. Exactly, exactly. Hi. Here we go. We are going to be settling in. Protoss in the finals. I mean, Protoss, usually like PvP finals are the go-to in our tournaments. True. Dubbed Sparkling Protoss Cup for a reason. But it's possible we can deny that this week. Possible. Again, our typical Protoss champions are not here. There's no Geralt, there's no Christiana, there's no Nightmare, there's no Trap, there's no Art. For the first time in a long time, can we get a Zerg or a Terran champion? Is it possible? I mean, there is Creator, so but that it's gonna be tough for anyone to bring Creator. Creator is gonna be the heavy hitter. He is gonna be the one to bring down. Best of luck to all those against him. For now, Twilight Council opener out of ReBellioN. Interesting, something more aggressive. Sorry, I kind of like said that in a laissez-faire manner, but no. Twilight Council here by ReBellioN, very aggressive. Do we go for Glaives? Do we go for DTs? What's it gonna be? So far, hasn't pulled out of gas. Show us the Dark Shrine. Robo into. Oh, we're still waiting a little bit. There we go. Show us the Dark Shrine. The probe is sent over, and the Dark Shrine is on the way. So again, it's going to be a DT opener here by ReBellioN. Now, this is not all in, but this is an aggressive way to open up. This is designed to give you an economic lead. As DTs, if there's no detection, they can, of course, get a lot of economic damage. YoungYakov is all inning. Jesus Christ. I'll put a pin on that one when it comes to the DT opener because we are link flooding. Here we go. The boys have been pulled, and they're here. We're going to be drone drilling past the wall, past the Adept, and we'll see if YoungYakov can break the natural, as he has not been scouted. And here we go, the drone drilling does get through. Lings, they do collapse on the army. Probes are being pulled as well. Can ReBellioN hold on? The Adept is going to go down. No shield battery. No shield battery. No warp in. Warp gate just now finishing. Nice hold position micro here by the probes, but there's only one stalker. It's just the one stalker trying to hold on. Adept gets surrounded. Is misplaced. Adept is surrounded. Sentries warping in. Lings are trying to break on through, but there's a force field. Yeah, the force field will buy time. Another sentry on the way. ReBellioN is holding. The drones, they're doing what they can. But there's another force field and an energy overcharge as well. Yeah, there's another warp in. And the wall is looking solid. Lings, they go for the Cybercore instead. And they should be able to get it. Oh, I spoke too soon. The force fields, once again, they reduce surface area on the Cybercore. Cybercore will survive. Drones, there's still one drone here behind the mineral line, but will be focused down. And here comes the Dark Templar. Here comes the DT. Hello. There we go. DT's revealed. And it could have been useful across the map, but unfortunately he has to, ReBellioN, he shows his hand earlier. I think that was a bit of a misplay here, just revealing the DTs ahead of time. Now there are spores on the way. Spores are being thrown down everywhere. Spores at the natural, at the third, in the main. Not quite in the main, but everywhere they need to be. But ReBellioN did survive, taking a third. DTs, they move out. They don't really get much done, as there's plenty of detection. Now, bearing in mind, DTs can always morph into Archons. However, YoungYakov, he does join up somewhat on 2 bases. He's on 2 gases into Roaches, and Roaches are amassing. Only enough to defend. Here come the Archons. Again, this is the power of the DT opener, is that if the Dark Templar don't do damage, I mean, you have the Archons to follow up. And Archons, they can shut down Overlords, Lings, Drones, even Queens. They can trade well. As ReBellioN is taking his third. Ling should soon confirm. ReBellioN does find an Overlord. Does find an Overlord. Hunts down a second one as well. Heading towards the natural. And this is just good trades, to be honest. Like, he's picking up Lings, getting Overlords, takes a bit of damage, a bit of shield damage on the Prism, which doesn't really mean much. And ReBellioN does get away. Back at home, he's securing his third. More Lings on the way. YoungYakov wants to try to deny the third expansion. And there's no shield battery, but there are force fields. Shield battery now being thrown down. ReBellioN going for the creep tumors. Does get him. So nice pickups here. Catching out those active tumors. Rotating around, YoungYakov rushing into an infestation pit. Interesting. Yo. Are we bold enough to go Swarm Host? Are we crazy enough to embrace? I mean, against Swarm Host, they have their place in this matchup. Against Blink Stalkers, less so. But with an Archon opener, I think we just assume it's going to be charge. It isn't, but I mean, it's not a bad assumption to make. We'll see. We'll see. Otherwise, this could just be a rush into Hive, into Vipers. That would be the more standard follow-up here. Is to head into Viper tech. Meanwhile, Queen's getting called out. Prism does take some hull damage. Oh my god. Oh, that's one more shot. It goes down. Oh my god. The Prism does fall. Massive pickup. Ay, ay, ay. And now there's nothing holding YoungYakov back. He can build up. He can set up. He can move out across the map. He's just waiting for his upgrades. Plus on range on the way. Roach speed still on the way as well. But in a couple of seconds, he can move across the map. In a couple of seconds, he can move out. Meanwhile, ReBellioN likewise rotating as well. But that means that ReBellion's not at home to defend. Who strikes first? Who hits who? As YoungYakov, again, he's threading that third. He's still active. He turns around. Okay, he does turn around. Does spot the army. And YoungYakov is racing back home. Didn't do anything with the infestation pit. Neither infestors, swarm hosts, or hive. Which is fine. He's just focusing on what he has on Roach Ravager. He's not being too greedy tech-wise. Force fields, they do slice up some of the roaches. They're very nice force fields. Army pushes in. Prism behind this to reinforce. Oh, but where are the force fields? Again, no more sentries. Immortals are exposed. They're going down. Yeah, massive pickup. YoungYakov catches both Immortals. Breaks through, getting on top of the Stalkers, and these just too many losses for ReBellioN. Too much too quickly. The DT's doing what he can, but only so much one DT can do. And from here, YoungYakov is snowballing out of control. Again, he's on a secure economy. He's on 3 bases, getting a 4th base just for Larva. Actually still droning up. The one DT going ham. Let's go. And ReBellioN just doesn't really have much tech behind this, unfortunately. Like, he has no second Robo. He has no Bay. There it is. That's what I assumed. The Swarm Hosts are on the way. That's why we brought it up earlier. They have their place. I mean, at this point, YoungYakov, he can make anything. Like, he's in a good enough position where he can invest into whatever he wants. Whether it would have been Swarm Host or Hive Tech. As ReBellioN will back up, getting a 4th base, trying to get into a greater economy. And ReBellioN is stuck with purely Blink Stalker. Just purely Blink Stalkers here from ReBellioN. more swarm hosts are building up, and ideally the swarm hosts are designed to either hit the natural or hit the main. Or the third, even. I mean, whatever we want. So DTs are still doing what they can. Swarm hosts, they rotate over. YoungYakov, he doesn't have eyes on the would-be fourth yet. They're waddling in. Miles, they graze the army, they take down the Archon. Swarm hosts are making their way towards the natural. I know they do spot the fourth, but ideally Locust Wave wants to be spent on the natural base instead. Oh, a little bit indecisive. There we go. And they're going for the natural base. They're going for the Nexus. Prism into the main, gets denied. Locust Wave comes in. 12 workers and the base. I mean, why not both? The mineral line and the expansion. And ReBellion's all in. At this point, he's completely all in. There's nothing left behind him. There's nothing left back at home. And he's got purely +2 Blink Stalkers. I mean, he's still going to have +2. I mean, the upgrades are good, but... Again, they don't scale amazingly. Hey, they get a base. Expansion goes down. They'll drop here towards the third. Roach Ravager collapsing in. Nice blink here by ReBellioN. He will clean up these Ravagers. I mean, this isn't the worst... This isn't the worst trade. The problem here, though, is that ReBellioN can't afford these trades. He cannot replace the army that he's losing. Locust Wave coming in. It hits the fourth. Will knock it down as well. Again, ReBellioN is just running out of steam. Doing what he can with the War Prism. Alas, he is deflected. GG gets called, and YoungYakov will take game number 1. Whew, GG. YoungYakov will take a lead in the series. Again, it was a crazy start of the game with YoungYakov going for the all-in. ReBellioN was able to hold well. That was good, but the problem was the follow-up there. Again, the DTs didn't do much. The Archons did. They were able to catch a couple of Overlords, that is true. But yeah, we saw ReBellioN just slowly getting to a third base. He committed into his Immortal base push, and once the Immortals got knocked out, it felt like that was kind of the wind taken out of ReBellion's sails. He wasn't really taking up behind it. He wasn't heading into Disruptors or Colossus or Storm or even second Robo into a double Immortal production. Like, no, he was pretty committed with that 3-base move out, and when it failed, I mean, that was game then and there. It was game then and there, and now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. As a reminder, this is a full best-of-3 series, so we'll see if ReBellioN can bounce back here in game 2. We'll see if he can force the ace match. As game 2 is going to be on Neon Violet Square. Okay, one of the, or actually, I should say, the largest map in the map pool. Interesting. I see where this is going. I can see the Stargate opener into Void Ray, into second Stargate, Fleet Beacon, Sky Toss. I can see it already. We'll see. We'll see if that's where he leads us. Aye. We'll get into it. We'll get into why I see that. Maybe it's my PTSD from, you know, years ago on Neon Violet Square back in 2017. It's possible. It's possible. We'll see. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Neon Violet Square, we have the South Green Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss representing his clan, NWC. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is ReBellioN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player. The red Zerg leading the series 1-0. It is YoungYakov. Here we go. So we are embracing our next game. Embracing our next series. Oh boy, okay, so first things first, welcome one and all to the largest map in the map pool. It's a very large map, and it is very easy to get yourself into a 3, 4, and 5 base economy. I say easy, easier than other maps, so as you do compare them. The reason for this, of course, one, you have the pocket base, you have a pocket third available to you, or fourth, depending on when you want to take it. Does have less minerals, but still has 2 gases, so plenty of gas to embrace here. If you recall, when we casted Rogue earlier, Rogue isn't the only player, but we have seen Zerg players in ZvT try to go 2-base Muta on this map, and it makes sense. Because of how large it is, because of all the gases, something like 2-base Muta does make sense. Likewise, something like a Skytoss Rush makes sense as well in PvZ. Likewise, this 4th base, also very difficult to really break here. There is one attack path here towards the southern side, but likewise, Protoss players, I mean, we have seen quite a lot of clutch defenses here at this 3rd. Likewise, at this low ground expansion as well, thanks to the wall, thanks to the Pachinko machine, can be quite awkward to push into. So we have seen, or we typically expect to see a lot of late game on this map, or some, I guess, mid to late game, I should say at least, as we're going gasless. Oh my god. Speaking of being greedy, and speaking of getting away with defendable bases, YoungYakov, that is hatch, hatch, pool. Hatch, hatch before pool. Very greedy build here by YoungYakov. No gas whatsoever. Gas is built here by the Zerg player. Because of this, no link speed, no early game aggression, purely drones. Drones and queens, and more drones and queens. This is the greediest build you can go for. Is the greediest build. So triple hatch before pool. Let's go. And we'll see if ReBellioN is tempted to try to punish this and tempted to try to go for an all-in, or if he sees this greed and if he counters it with his own. Ah, there we go. Robo's on the way. It's going to be a Robo opener now. This can lead into a couple of different things, but it's going to be aggressive nonetheless. This can lead into early Immortal production, into like a Soul Train, right? It's like an Immortal based all-in. This can lead into something like a Slow Lot all-in with mass gateways, like Slow Lots with +1 even, or just Slow Lots on their own, with a Warp Prism to reinforce. This can lead into a Disruptor drop. That's a little bit old school. Disruptor drops, they haven't been in meta for a very long time. I say for a long time, like a year, maybe 2 years. So this could be Robo into a Bay, into Disruptors, into a Disruptor drop. If you wanted to go full NA, this could be Bay into Colossus, into a Colossus drop instead. There are options. There are options here for ReBellioN, and we have the answer. No Warp Prism, Immortal. It's going to be a Soul Train. We're massing up Immortals, massing up Sentries. The Overlord will not confirm. The Overlord does get eyes on the Robo, but as we mentioned, there are actually a plethora of possibilities of what this build could be. Aggression, though, is what it's leaning towards. The details are a little bit in the dark, or I should say YoungYakov is in the dark as to the details, but knows that something is wrong, something is up. But now he's droning. Early Roach Horn, I do like this. This is a 345 Roach Horn timing, taking his extra gases, is still embracing Link speed. And I wouldn't be surprised, oh, as he does catch the Adept, I wouldn't be surprised if we even get like a safety spore momentarily as well. Overlord checking the main, gets eyes on the gateways. As it's going to be 3 gates in the main and 1 gateway in the natural, a 4-gate setup. And again, we're building up more sentries, more immortals. Soul Train. Just immortal sentry all in. Let's go. Now the downside is we're throwing down a 5th gateway. Let's go. Just extra gates. We can go up to 6. Yeah, there we go. 6 gates. So 2 base, 6 gate all in. The downside, of course, oh my god, 7? I don't know if we can afford that, but okay. Sure, why not? Jesus. Getting up to 7 gates. The downside, of course, is that typically reinforcements take a long time to arrive, but with the Warp Prism, I guess that doesn't matter. True, right? Like with the Warp Prism, it doesn't matter how big the map is, you're going to be able to reinforce on the front lines. That's the power of the Prism. Here comes ReBellioN. Back at home, YoungYakov, he droned up to 2 base saturation, only 3 gases, 2 bases, doesn't saturate his 3rd, only for larva. Very safe play here by YoungYakov. He's massing up roaches, massing up lings, massing up ravagers as well. But it comes down to the engage. It comes down to the control. How good are the force fields going to be? How good is the engage going to be? ReBellioN, he pokes in. And it's all or nothing. Here come the slow lots. Slow lot reinforcements. Gets on top of the hatchery. Lings, they collapse in for us around. Ooh, they catch out the army. The force fields are good, but the Lings, they catch everything. The boss connects. Oh my god, massive connections. And YoungYakov, he completely shuts this down. The surround was brutal, the battle's even more so, and ReBellioN, he's down to 1 Immortal, 1 Stalker, 1 Prism, and nothing else. There's nothing else here. YoungYakov is going for a massive counterattack. Back at home, we do have a massive wave of Zealot reinforcements, so potentially ReBellioN can hold on. Drops across the map, there's plenty of reinforcements here, there are plenty of production. These are queens to defend. And YoungYakov, he cannot push into the natural yet. He's waiting for his Ravagers. Waiting for the Ravagers. Lings, they do get in. A Vials popping up. Oof, they do connect. Yeah, and these Elves are just being torn apart. Just being torn apart. We get the recall back home. The Immortal doing what it can. The offensive pilot! No! The offensive pilot! Oh my god, everything gets depowered. 4 gateways to the rover and the cybercore. GG gets called, and YoungYakov will take the series 2-0. GG. Artosis, what did you do? GG, well played. I mean, it was looking bleak anyway there. Again, the failed all-in after that moment. I mean, YoungYakov was in the driver's seat, did so out of control. GG. GG, well played. YoungYakov does claim the series. And with that, we are getting into the upper semifinals. Let's go. We're getting into those upper semis. Should message the players. I'm going to message players, and from here we can switch the scenes over and have a look at the bracket. Exclamation mark, be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves.